Good morning. I have returned. Why is my sound funky? Can you hear me? That's better, isn't it? Is that better? That must be better. There we go. Right, I have returned. This is stint 11. If you didn't already know what this is all about, this is the Endurance Racing Federation Nürburgring 24-hour. We have almost completed 20 of those 24 hours, and the last two hour stints you'll have the dulcet tones of me talking absolute rubbish for 2 hours, followed by PonyBoy talking incredible amounts of sense for the final stint. Everyone lined up and ready to go. There is Ost, who will be the first to leave as soon as Clarky arrives in the pits at his end. Clarky at the moment is I don't know where Clarky is. Clarky is heading down the long straight, of which name I don't know, ready to dive in the pits, and then of course Ost will be gone. Clarky at the moment is about a minute clear, I think, something ridiculous like that. So it's a nice leisurely drive in the countryside for Ost to get these guys to bring it home. I don't know who's running the last stint for R8. I would assume it's probably going to be Nick, because he's quick. Yeah, it's an awesome team, this R8 team. Bear in mind, of course, that when I took over stint 9, just a couple of hours ago, they weren't even in the lead. It was GTS3, and there's Clarky in, so Ost will be on his way out very, very soon. And we're just waiting for everybody else, of course, that's coming behind us. Here we go. So Ost will take to the track. He'll be the first driver out. This will be his outlap. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do it on board with Ost, because it's quite some time before the number 2 driver comes in, ready for, and that will be the GTSV driver, who I believe is THD Kevin, will be the next driver out. So here we go, on board with Ost for his outlap here. 15, well actually 14 racing laps in there. And yeah, it's going to be 2 or 3 laps before, sorry, one sec. It's going to be 2 or 3 laps before everybody is out, because there is some gaps between the leaders and the back markers. I think we've got 11 or 12 racing in this particular stint. So let's go. To be fair, 14 teams started, and we're only a couple of teams down, which is not too shabby, to be fair. You've got to be pretty happy with that. There's an overtake happening right at the death in the previous stint. So 4th place changing, as we'll see Kevin leaving the pits very, very soon, because his teammate has arrived home, as has Apex Magnet. So there'll be another driver coming out. There comes Kevin. He's out of the pits. Next will be Apex Magnet for our old team. There we go, and it's the MRL team, of course, and Gilf is out as well. So there's your top 3 out on track. 1.5 minutes is the current gap almost for Ost. Don't know whether Ost has got, I haven't seen Ost racing yet, so I don't know if Ost has got the same kind of pace as Nick and Clarky. But yeah, they've already demonstrated that these guys are super quick. There's 5 in, it's the top 5 all in. Stiggs is now out, the Australian driver. It's middle of the night for him now, I think. He is out on track, and I think we've got one more about to come out with one of the days in a second. We'll stay on board with Ost for the time being. You get a feel just how quick this racetrack is. Absolutely powering through this section, which is it's twisty, but it's fast. And thank you, of course, to JeGr, who's hosting the proceedings in the proceeding lobby. And we've got PonyBoy coming up straight after me. I bet you guys are looking forward to that. Someone who knows what they're doing would be an awesome addition to finish off this brilliant 24-hour race series. My God, I'm tired. Anyway, I was going to try and have a sleep in between, but the cars are so far apart, there really wasn't time to do that. So I just kind of potted around and watched the race and then came back out. So it is really down to Racer Solid to lose it at the moment. There were a minute and a half clear. We did see in stint 9, there was no safety cars in stint 10, but we did see in stint 9 that there is just how damaging the safety car could be to these minute and a half leads, because Clarkey, who was over a minute clear, when the safety car came out, he under the restart he lost a few places. He made a little mistake, lost a few places, dropped down to 5th, had to fight his way back, and it was on the very last lap, heading down towards the stadium section for the final time, that he regained the lead of the race. So very, very close were Clarkey and Randy Moore coming into the last lobby. So we're up to what we've got. Kevin's out, Gelf's out, Stig's out, Pled Silver is out, Roadrunner for Ready to Race is out as well now. They're starting to file neatly into the pits over on the other side. Why is that not? There we go. That's better. That's better. 11 for Ray. 12. You count quality. I think you can count quality. Well, no, not really, because you got to sleep in between quality, so it doesn't really count. And you don't sleep calling the action. Thanks very much, Slippy. I did get some sleep, just not a lot of it. Because obviously I had yeah, well, great racing in GT Champions earlier, Slippy. Unfortunate on that little incident that knocks you down to 4th. I think the push to pass should get looked at. Maybe that position will be reinstated. So we're on board with Ost at the moment, who is 1 minute 28 seconds clear. We'll go through the whole field soon. Just waiting for all of the guys to come in the outside. You've got to bear in mind there's a significant number of laps between the front runners. The front 6 are on the lead lap. Everybody else is a lap or 2 or 3 behind. Yeah, I think it was about 4 laps in total, the difference. But that's because there was a few disconnections and people coming in and out and stuff like that. So we're down. We've lost 2 teams. We've lost Team 44 and it's the G-Spot, the G-Spot racing team, who have also fallen by the wayside. They brought a car out for a little jaunty in the last stint, but they had to retire quite early due to a technical failure. Don't know what situations we were with car 44. I wasn't around. I was doing something much more important. Of course I wasn't. There's nothing more important than this. Absolutely nothing. So, just a few corners left to go. Remember, there's 170 corners here at the Nürburgring. This particular layout, anyway, 154 if you just count Nordschleife, or Nordschleife. I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce things correctly. I'm just going to blag it. But 170 corners in this 24-hour layout. And I did the math. It's about 2,500 corners these drivers are going to have to navigate over the 14 racing laps that they will be doing. That's 2,500 opportunities to get it a whole heap of wrong and turn the car upside down. Ost looking pretty darn racy so far. He's opened up that gap a little bit. It's only 1.5 seconds. We will move further down the order later, but top 6 are the only runners at the moment on this lead lap. Still a number still sitting in the picture. You can see some gaps behind. But actually, if we've got MD, that stands for major damage. Who's got the damage? There's Kevin there with a 3 second. That's a pit lane penalty, isn't it? 5.9 seconds between golf. Is it Gelf or Golf or Gilf? I'll go with Gilf. Why not? Let's go with Gilf because it's funny. I think it's actually Golf. But that's the M6, the MRL M6 Team 33. Apex Magnet did a great job in that last race to get them up the order. But 1 minute 36 seconds behind Oz they are at the moment. 6.5 ahead of Kevin. Kevin racing, of course, for that GTSV team. Two teams out there say GTSV. Stiggs, he is racing for the Clockwork Motorsport. I keep going to say Clockwork Orange, which clearly is something very, very different. But the Clockwork Motorsport team. Pled Silver, that's the TDR Design M6. Roadrunners for Ready to Race. Roadrunner Ready to Race, lots of R's. Shouldn't roll the R's really well. Not going to at all. Now Kevin's calling for MD. I'm assuming that's damage. Shall we have a little looky shifty see? I'm gonna look for this one. He has got damage, but it's not engine damage. Now, from my understanding, the safety car rule is quite simple. It's 3 or more cars with at least 1 or 2 points of damage, and then or engine damage only for safety car. So it's a safety car's not going to come out for that. And the problem, of course, with having a safety car out at this stage is that there are some cars still in the pits, and yes, it will fundamentally close up the field, which is what you want, but you don't want it too close, really, do you? Certainly Ost will be quite happy to go this entire race 1 minute 36 seconds clear in that GTR. Looking very strong with GTR, and it's becoming the signature race asylum car, this GTR. They are signing up very quickly with GTR for every endurance race, and it seems to be their go-to, performing very well for them as well. Golf's in the, that's the BMW M6, which is a phenomenal motor car. Right, so Kevin is going into the pits. Now, 1 minute 20 seconds over Pled Silver in that TDR Designs car. So, not a problem, really, because even just to repair damage, the pit loss is only about 25-30 seconds. I hope you're not asking me that question, I don't know. It's probably Clarky or Nick, I would imagine. But I'm not sure I'll answer the question for you now. That's the Ready to Race driver, Road Runners. We're still waiting for, if there aren't any issues, me. Ray Coxlar is doing the last stint. Okay, interesting. Right, so we still got some drivers left in. 11 drivers left in the pits. Their counterparts have not finished yet. This is the lead lap. It's King Ears doing the last lap, not Ray Coxlar. Surprised really, because Ray has watched all 11 streams thus far and is probably very, very tired. So there's your race leader, and the Race Asylum team have been phenomenal throughout, really, haven't they? Need to get rid of this stupid thing. Yes, so Ost is leading by 1 minute 38 seconds. Then we've got Gelf. Is it Gelf or Golf or Gilf? Can someone clarify that for me on chat? It would make it a lot easier than me making up a name for them. I don't think I actually think Ray should be driving now. I think just for that you should let Ray drive and see if everyone can. I'm not saying that just slow around, but as you drive, I can't make that judgment. But yeah. So Stiggs in that that's the Lexus RCF, of course, for the Clockwork Orange team, Clockwork Motorsports team. 10.3 seconds is the gap to Gilf. Can he close it? That's the big question. The other thing as well, of course, is where do they slot in when the other cars come out. I know the other cars are going to be a few laps down, but the last thing you want if these guys are racing is to have those cars that are already a few laps down in and around where you are, because they're going to be late, essentially. Oh, and anyone that's watching that didn't watch the last broadcast, get yourself onto the Discord, because JeGr gave us a beautiful, beautiful rendition of Barbie Girl that Aqua will be proud, shall we say, or turning in the grave. I'm not sure which. It was tuneful and blissful and lovely. Okay, so top six still the only drivers out there. I think we're looking probably lap 4 before we're going to start to see Octavian and Jupe and I don't know why do I struggle to say Mijili, Philo and Irox. Who else have we lost? Have we lost? That's the DCT driver, Irox. That's the TDR design team. TRD, I think it is. That's the other GTS-V car. That's Team Full Send. That, of course, is the CLL, whatever they're, Flip, blah. Yes. So I was not talking to you. I know that we've lost the 88 car. That is the Project Revolution 911. I don't know when we lost them, but we lost them quite early on. They've gone. They are no more. We've also lost the G-Force Racing 911s. The two 911s out of this race. We've lost the 44 car, which was Rose's and Evo and Roshi and Shane. That was quite early on. We're left with just the rest, and they're the 3 missing cars, which is a shame because 911s are beautiful cars. You want to kind of see some 911s out there when you've got a bit of GT3 racing. So the gap just getting bigger out in the lead for Race Asylum. They are in that 24 car, 1.4 minutes. It's not right, is it? 1.4 minutes. 1 minute 40 seconds. It's been a long, long night. 1 minute 40 seconds. Yeah, 1 minute 40 seconds and 1 minute 39 from Guelph. Yeah, what happened to, can anyone clarify what happened to the 44 McLaren for MRL? Because it was there when, at the beginning, and then when I came to the stint in the early hours of the morning, they were gone. Can anyone clarify what happened to Welshi and company? There is Guelph. The gap's closed a little bit, it's 9.2 seconds. So we can see already that this clockwork motorsport is starting to close the gap a little bit on Guelph. Don't know what the lap times are yet. We haven't had a full lap from these dudes just yet, but we will get a representative time soon. Now we know the fastest lap is a 36, so not 36, I'm talking about a 56, which was done by Nick. It was done by Nick, which was done. Yeah, it was set by in the stint before last, the 56, which was a pretty darn racy lap in all fairness. We're not going to see that many sub 8-minute laps on the floor. Ost gives us an 8:05, which is by Racing Asylum standards pretty slow. I think you slapped you, mate. You need to get your hands out of your pockets and get on with it. Guelph will be crossing the line in about 1 minute and 40 seconds. That's what gap is. 1 minute 41 at the moment. It's quite a big gap. Still no sign of the other cars coming out. Still got Philo there in the other TDR design car. Irox for DCT. Mijili in the GTS-V car. Jupe in for Team Full Send, and Poctavian for CPTL. They're all still waiting their fellow drivers to arrive into the pits. Roadrunner 4 ready to race. I think it was Roadrunner Junior actually, at the beginning of stint number 9, was in the lead of this race, or took the car into the lead of the race anyway, before the handover. And that was the last time that RA were not leading. Now, of course, they are significantly ahead. That last stint 10 opened up a massive gap. They started about second clear and are now 1 minute 40 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. But then when you're talking about an 8-minute lap, of course, anything can happen. You know, one little spin, one little mistake, one little lapse in judgment, and that can all change very, very quickly. So don't hold your breath just yet. But we'll see. There is a pled in the that's the other team design car, isn't it? The BMW. Is it? No, it's not. That's not. I can't remember. As far as that. Yeah, that's the other team design car. So I do remember things. Currently running in 5th place, 48 seconds behind Kevin. Kevin, of course, racing for GTS3. He's got a massive gap either side, 34 seconds ahead, 48 seconds behind the Belgian driver. So nobody on the racetrack to really mess around with. That's in the scheme of the pace we've seen. The 8 minute 20 is pretty darn slow. But if I remember rightly, didn't he have he had a little incident, didn't he, on lap 2, where he picked up some damage. So that will have some impact on that. So now Octavian is out and Philo is out. 22 seconds separate these two. Philo's one of those RA crazy alien people. So we may well see that gap starting to close just in behind. Yeah, I've just seen it. I can see how close they are. So that Lexus obviously is the is currently running in 3rd, and Philo they're currently running in 8th position. But there is a couple of laps difference between them. Now, depending on, of course, Philo's pace, Philo is every right to unlap themselves if they've got the pace to do so. But obviously the obligation is not with the Clockwork Motorsports car to move out of the way and let them through. So Philo's going to have to do it the hard way. He's going to have to treat it like a normal racing overtake. And just looking up ahead there with Sticks, was that another car I saw somewhere close by? It is. That is Gelf. And the gap that was at one stage 10 seconds is now at 2.6 seconds. Now, if Philo is that quick, and Philo is putting in lap times similar to these guys, it's very likely that they may be interfering with this this little battle that's likely to go on relatively shortly. Because Gelf at the moment is 2.9 seconds clear, but we're only on, I say only on lap 4, lap 4 of 14, or lap 4 of, well, it's technically lap 3, racing lap 3 of 14. And already that gap come down from 10 seconds to 2.6, with Stiggs behind the wheel. The fastest lap is currently with Stiggs as well, with that 8:03.1. Certainly nowhere near the fastest lap we've seen today. We've seen alien times from the AFRA drivers, quite often in the 58s and 57s, with the odd 56 thrown in, just as a reminder of who's boss. So 2.5 seconds as the chase down begins, and we'll stay on board and watch this happening before our eyes. What happened with Pled's pit stop? I couldn't tell you. The only person that has pit thus far, as I'm aware, is Kevin. Because Kevin had some damage, and that was on lap number 1. Well, technically racing lap number 1, lap 2 for up there purposes. Right, so tricky part of the circuit now. Very difficult to overtake in this particular part. The road is relatively narrow. It's quite twisty. There's no real super long straights yet. And we can see that Stiggs is getting ever closer to the back of that MRL car with Gelf behind the wheel. Now, the question is, of course, whether, one, can he catch him, which certainly looks like he can, but two, is how can he get past? Is there an easy path through? Gelf's surely not just gonna move aside and let this car go through without a fight. So obviously you've got to be careful. You know, we're only a few hours from the end of this race now. We're into the 21st hour of this 24-hour race here at Nürburgring, and the last thing you want is for a race where you've worked so hard. And bear in mind that this Clockwork Motorsports team have pretty much been in the top 3 throughout the entire 24-hour period. The same as Race Asylum. Second place has been a little bit different. I can do that indeed. There's Kevin there in 4th position. He's 38 seconds back. There's 49 between Kevin and Pled Silver, who is trying to chase down that 49-second gap. Roadrunner in 6th place, 21 seconds back. That's the other Roadrunner, the Roadrunner older. Hey, how you doing? Right, so 1.5 seconds. The gap was 10 seconds. It's down to 1.5, and that is where it's kind of stayed. Although, as I say that, it finds an extra 3 tenths from somewhere, and as if to tell me to shut up. But yeah, it's getting down to the business end now, and certainly you can now start to see the nodding dog in the back of that car ahead. Yeah, that's the senior out there in Nürburgring. I kind of get it. Well, I don't know. Could be wrong. But yeah, so really closing down now is Stiggs in that Clockwork Motorsport car. And as I said, this car has been in and around the top 3 pretty much the entire 20-odd hours we've been running now. The MRL car has had mixed fortunes. It's been down in the sort of mid-pack. It's currently up in 2nd place, albeit 1 minute 45 seconds behind the Race Asylum team. But they are from a different planet, those guys. Absolutely different planet. So Stiggs is on the chase down and trying to find himself 2nd place. Now, obviously, the earlier he can get this done, and if he's got the pace differential over Gelf, he'll want to get this move done and get on up the road and start opening up the gap. I'd love to say to start chasing after Ost in the Race Asylum car, but I mean, even if he could make up that 1 minute 45 second deficit, and even if he could get past him, is he going to build up a big enough lead to prevent Clarkey or Nick, or whoever comes in the final? Actually, it's not his King, isn't it? Final step. But we know that every single one of these RA guys are super quick. And as we head down towards the stadium section for the 3rd time, the slipstream is so strong in the back of that BMW, and just changing up, pulling out the slipstream, side by side they go, nice and clean, and Stiggs gets that job done relatively easily. And there's not going to be enough time now for Gelf to tuck in behind and do anything about it, so Gelf just has to resign himself to 3rd place. Still in the top 3, of course, but now is going to see the back of that that Clockwork Motorsports car just disappearing into the distance. I do love that livery though, that throwback to that to racing cars of old, that Golf livery. The best looking livery out there, of course, is back here. Philo's in it at the moment. That's the TDR Designs, the 2nd TDR Designs car. The first one, of course, is up here somewhere. There it is. Pled Silver, the Ukrainian driver, is currently in that. Okay, so midfield battle at the moment is kind of centred around here. Now, we take sort of Octavian and Philo. They're a lap behind these guys. So the top 6 are all on the lead lap, ish. Although Austin sticking out on lap 5, but they're all there or thereabouts on the lead lap. So we've got Pled Silver there, 51 seconds back from Kevin. Kevin's got 39 second deficit to Gelf, who has just lost 2nd to Stiggs. Now, looking at lap times, very similar, 3 tenths difference. Kevin's not going to make up a 40-second deficit by taking 3 tenths a lap every lap. The deficit will come down, of course, but nothing significant Nothing you can really work with. Pled Silver, 50 seconds. He's off the pace in terms, so the gap is actually going to increase. Looking at Roadrunner's pace, Roadrunner's last lap was, well, again, comparable with Pled Silver. So 20 seconds is that gap. Going to need to be edging that into the mid 8 minutes, so the 8:05, 8:06 to close it down relatively quickly. We'll see if Roadrunner's got maybe an 8:08, 8:07 in the bag. Then we go back to this little battle here, which I mean, you could argue 22 seconds apart is not a battle, but they are on the same part of the racetrack, these two. You've got Poctavian in that COPD car. Is 23 seconds at the moment ahead of Philo. And Philo in the TDR Designs car. We'll get a representative lap time soon from these two fellas. I say soon, in about 6 minutes time, when they've finished their first full not come from the pits racing lap. 1 minute 18 seconds back. Yeah, again, they're going to be on the same lap, but Dupe very much in a sort of league of his own at the moment for Team Full Send. There's over a minute ahead to Philo. It's almost 2 minutes behind to the DCT driver Irox. It's Irox the 7th. Unfortunately, the other 6 Irox were not available for this event, so they had to pull the 7th one out of the bag for this particular event. Again, quite similar to the position that you guys in. It's 1 minute 41 seconds ahead. It's nearly a minute behind. So no real stress. No one really on the racetrack they're racing with. Excuse me. At this time. Tiger's sitting in. I hope I'm making you all yawn if you've been awake. There we go. And they're running 11th because we've lost 3 of the 14 drivers. That's Mijili. Mijail. Currently running 53 seconds back. That's the other GTSV CP RESP car. So Ost still there, still leading this race. 1 minute 42 seconds clear. It was 1:45, so slacking a little bit. It looks to me that Ost is settling into a rhythm. 8:05 is more than sufficient at the moment. Stig's showing incredible pace. That's an 8:02.9 on that last lap for him. And already, so started the race 10 seconds behind Golf. Now is 11 seconds clear. That's a 21 second swing. Check me out doing math in the morning after very little sleep. Loving it. Yes, 21 second swing there. And the question now is whether Kevin, with 8:08.6 playing 8:08.9, can up the pace and push towards the top 3. This is the business end now, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen. This is the business end, because after this, you've got your final rundown to the line. The final stint, that is going to decide who finishes where in this 24-hour endurance race. There's going to be some very tired little boys and girls after this, but I can tell you something for nothing. If they get set up for a possible improvement in position by their teammate for their 2-hour stint, they're absolutely not just going to see this race out. They're going to go for it. So you're going to have drivers at the moment like Kevin. Kevin's going to be trying to find a way to close on that MRL car. Currently being driven by Gelf. You've got Pled Silver who's going to try and find a way. At the moment the pace is not there, but try and find a way to get that TD Designs car back up towards Kevin in front. Certainly keep away from the clutches of Roadrunner behind in the Ready to Race car. Now we've seen what the other Roadrunner did. He went beep beep and then ran away from the while he hid. He didn't really do that. We saw what the other Roadrunner did a couple of stints ago, and set them up very, very nicely into the lead of the race, starting stint number 9. Things have changed since then. It's been 4 hours of racing since then, and things have changed, and racers sort of taken back control of this race. But clearly, this Ready to Race team have demonstrated a level of skill. And no, to be fair, I mean, every team out there has demonstrated a level of skill because the 14 best cars are out there. You know, they had to go through a qualifying procedure. They had to go through let's say qualifying. It's a readiness test. Are you quick enough? There was vastly oversubscribed. We were one of the teams that also applied for it, but decided to. We were struggling to get a really hot company. I say hot team. You know, a team of drivers that we felt confident could make out the full 24 hours, and we had holidays and stuff like that. So it made sense to not put in an incredibly weakened team, particularly because the qualifying pace was so hot, and these drivers are so darn close. Gilf. Are we going with Gilf then? Is that what we're going for? Not golf, it's Gilf. For those of you not from the UK, you might not know what a Gilf is. So I'm pretty sure pretty much everyone around the world knows what a MILF is. A Gilf is essentially a MILF but a granddad. Or a grandma. I suppose it's gender non-specific, isn't it? Just like everything else in this world at the moment. That wasn't a dig, by the way. So Ost actually losing a bit of time to Stiggs. Stiggs is eating into that 1 minute 45 lead by about 6 seconds. So at the moment, I mean, at this rate, he's still not going to catch him. But it could be a much smaller gap for this Orange Clockwork Motorsport team come the final stint on that final chase down. Now, I do know King Ears is racing for Ost. Don't explain what. I didn't use the end of it. You feel uncomfortable. Yeah, like I do every day. Yeah, look, Stiggs would need to be up in the pace significantly. I mean, he's doing 8.02s to Ost's 8.06, 8.07. So the gap is going to come down, but the gap is so significant at the moment. You saw someone in the wall. Who was in the wall? Let's have a little look. You see. Let's bring up the. We bring this up, and we can see that it was damaged. Can't we? That was a follow. Oh, we've got Upay there. Has got some damage on the front. The gap is 1 minute 20. The gap hasn't really changed much, so it doesn't look like it's cost any time. It's Gelf. Elf starting with a gun. To be fair, the three guys suggested was me, but you never know, do you? You never know. So yeah, it looks like no one else has got the damage. It looks like it was Juppe that made a mistake. So praying for safety car. Now that would mix things up a little bit, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would mix things up. I don't know if I want a safety car. But it would give me something more to see on the racetrack. Because at the moment there are no real battles. We know that Stiggs is going to close on us, so that Clockwork Motorsport team is going to close on the Race Asylum team. Based on current pace, of course, we don't know us might be holding something back in the bag. But it's not going to be enough at the current rate to take that position and create any kind of battle. It would need, I think Stiggs would need to be dropping into the 58s, 59s, and Os dropping down a little bit more, possibly, to stand any chance of that being a thing. Golf, it's definitely Gelf. Currently running 24 seconds behind Stiggs. Now, it was 10 seconds clear of that Clockwork Motorsport team. But now, of course, the MRL team find themselves 24 seconds back. Still with 33 second, what's the word I'm looking for? Advantage, that's the one. 33 second advantage over the GT of SPCT. GTSV team, that's the one. GTSV. In terms of lap times, has put in an 8.08 last lap though, an 8.16. But Gelf had the same problem, did an 8.08, but this time did an 8.22. So the gap is coming down, but again, it's going to require a significant pace differential between the two. The Ukrainian driver driving for the TDR Designs team, one of the two cars they've got, one being this BMW, the other being that beautiful painted lead here. I want that livery so bad. I saw it and a little piss off me. 44 seconds is the gap Pled to Kevin. Pled has done their fastest laps thus far, which is an 8 minutes 10.2. So 4 seconds taken out of Kevin that time round. But Kevin is capable of going a couple of seconds quicker. So it's going to require, I think if we're going to see any battles within this 2 hour period, certainly, we're going to need a safety car. There is that 21-second gap there, but very similar lap times. There's nothing really to separate. In fact, if anything, Roadrunner a little bit quicker, but nothing super significant. And that's all the cars on the lead lap now. They're all on lap 6, but it's 3 minutes difference between Ost and Roadrunner as it stands. That's the separation of this top 6. So it is going to take a safety car to close them up, and it's going to take some time as well. So it needs to be a really, really long safety car. This is the kind of next midfield battle. We've got Poctarian in that absolutely gorgeous AMG Mercedes. And I love this car in red and black. I think red and black absolutely suits this car to a T. It is perfect colour scheme for what is, for me, probably one of my favourite GT3 cars. I think it's great looking. I think it sounds awesome. In fact, it's something like this. I'm going to shut up for a minute. I don't do that very often. Let's turn up the volume. Sounds so good, doesn't it? It sounds so good. Blue flag's coming out. That is going to be for who's coming up behind Poctarian, I think, right? It's not Philo. Which one of these guys is it? Kevin's not too far behind. There is Gelf. Gelf's not far behind. There is Stiggs. I think it's going to be Stiggs. Is not too far away. There's a little jump there over. That was a brilliant little jump there. Can we see the AMG? We can, just ahead there, as this as Stiggs is now trying to eat into Ost's lap times. We'll see actually. It's been 8:03 and 8:02 and followed by another 8:02 for Stiggs, and this is looking pretty darn racy as well. Doesn't want to get held up behind this AMG for any length of time. And to be fair, at the moment this AMG is not in any kind of battle. It's not, certainly not in any kind of imminent battle, so sure, get out of the way. In fact, it would have actually been really nice for Stiggs to have been a bit closer here to pick up a little bit of slipstream off the back of that AMG and then go breezing past. Now that's another purple sector. This is looking like another quick lap for Stiggs. So because we're near the end, let's stay on board. Is it sub 8 minutes? What sort of chunk is he taking out of Ost with this? It's already down to 1 minute 37. It's down 8 seconds from its peak point. And again, another purple. Purple after purple after purple. It's what you want to see when you're chasing something down, because it means that nobody on the racetrack is faster than you. Round the little final section to go. They're not going to peel off to the right hand side, not just yet. It's nowhere near pit window time. I suppose it is, if you want to do a kind of half distance thingy, not too far off. That's an 8:01.8. That's the fastest lap thus far today in this particular lobby, of course. We've not seen the dizzy heights of the sub 8 minutes that we've already experienced, but not a bad start. And we can see here now just how close this battle has become. My God, man, that's bright. Let's not do that. That's far too trippy. That's like that's a very camp barcode staring us down. Toyota Gazoo Racing in a Lexus. So it is. What's the gap now? The gap is down to 1.3, 1 minute 3, 36 seconds, shall we say? Right, have we got some more damage somewhere? Who's crashed? Let's have a little looky-see, because it looks like we've got a damaged car somewhere. There's a double damage for Kevin. Kevin's had another, not a good day for Kevin. Kevin's had another little damage. Oh, and again there, that's engine damage. Now, I've got to say, I'm calling that as deliberate. That's how it looked to me. I'm going to play the replay, and you make your own mind up. Why am I not getting answers on the keyboard? That's why. Let's replay this, because he's already hit the wall by then. It looked deliberate to me. I could be wrong. It could be a wheel failure. But it looked to me that he ploughed that full on into the wall to bring about a safety car. Let's let the stewards decide, shall we? But no safety car has been called by the looks of it. Pled Silver is going in as well. No damage on board for Pled. There is some damage there for Roadrunner at the rear. So clipped something somewhere, did Roadrunner. And that will be affecting the straight line speed down that straight. The blue flag's still for Poppetarian. And that, of course, we know is Sticks on the charge. I haven't seen a call for a safety car, so it looks like we're still going ahead. So if that was a ploy to bring about a safety car, it didn't work. And obviously, I'm not going to cost special. If it wasn't, I do apologise. But it looked a little bit sus to me. He just went flying straight into the wall. I'm with you on that end station gaming. That was not a normal impact. That was I'm going to keep my foot fully planted into the wall because it's staying green. So great call for the stewards there. That for me was a ploy. Roadrunner's gone in to repair that damage. Kevin went in, Pled went in, and Kevin picks up a 3-second penalty. I tell you what, this GTSV team looking really strong last couple of stints, but I think tiredness now starting to set in a little bit. I'm with you on that one. Noir and Teres. Did I pronounce that right? Yeah, it was penalised for no safety car. I'll leave it down to anyone else who saw that. That should be a black flag. No, because I'm black flag. Nobody can be a me. No, it was ropey, man. It was ropey. But listen, I apologise in advance to Kevin if that was a wheel failure or something else. Okay. Well, everyone agrees with me, so I'll say what I like it. Sod it. Yeah, that was deliberate. That was a deliberate act, and that's not very sporting. Come on now, Kevin. Come on. You're better than that, mate. You're better than that. Spankies for you later on. Right, so Ost is he's still in the lead. What a surprise. Has just put in his fastest lap of the race, though. That's an 8:04.8, which is irrelevant, really, because Stiggs is still going quick. Did that 8:01.8 last time out. So full 3 seconds faster. Look, we're under no illusions here about the quality of this R18 all the way through the order. Ost isn't putting in the sub 8 minute laps that we're seeing from the aliens like Clarky and like Nick. They put it in, but let's face it, they are of a different planet in terms of pace. Everything just seems to turn to fast in their hands. Stiggs is doing a really, really good job, though, of just trying to eat into that lead. I disagree, Bert, in that instance, because yeah, I suppose you could argue that if a car had done that in real life, then there would be a safety car, because there'd be bits of carve-off favour all over the racetrack. But no, acting like a petulant child and deliberately try to force an issue, it should not be rewarded with exactly what you want and then punished later. The only person that really lost out in that scenario was Kevin. So there we go. So punishment enough. Still in 4th place. Hasn't lost significant amounts, but now much further behind Gelf. 6.8 seconds is the gap to Pled Silver. Now in terms of lap times, 8:08, 8:16, 8:24. Pled went into the pits as well, remember. But Pled looking a little bit racier in the steady 8:10s. Yeah, absolutely. You've got the penalty. But yeah, so Pled Silver, I mean, we get to see Kevin serving that 3-second penalty as he gets further around the lap, of course. That will allow Pled to close right up on the back, so we've potentially got a battle there. So all it's really done, instead of forcing, I'm assuming the intention was, because they had a bit of damage, to maybe close that field up a little bit under safety car. But no, I agree with P1 and P2 shouldn't have suffered. I mean, it'd be great for us viewers, but not so great for those two in P1 and P2. Particularly with Stig on such a charge at the moment. He's on a real charge at the moment, and losing that momentum can sometimes play havoc with that rhythm that you found. And this is that sort of track where you're kind of relying on that rhythm. Yes, I don't know if Kevin's ploy was just because he had damage, he's ordered to slow everybody down, or whether he felt that a safety car might get him on the back of Gelf and give him an opportunity to make the move. I mean, in terms of pace, actually, he may well have put a little bit of a challenge in. And, well, now it's completely backfired. And bearing in mind, this team are running 2 cars in this series. And that's something that I think will be dealt with as a time. Look, I can't speak for the management of GTS. I don't know the managers of that team. I don't know how they run their race team. But I would assume that they're not the kind of people that would accept that as acceptable race behaviour. I know certainly at Black Flag we would not. Attempted manipulation. Oh, that's another off there. This one looks good. Yeah, you can't park that there, mate. Right, so Stig has gone into the pits at this halfway point, lap 7. Going to put on some nice fresh boots and fill up with some juicy fuel and carry on trying to just get something into that race asylum. That massive race asylum lead that's still over a minute and a half, and we know that it will be. I meant to turn that off. Sorry, I didn't double press that. Well, I should have done and turned it off, but it will be off now. Okay, so Ost is lost. No, he's not. He's 2 minutes clear now. Now Stig's been into the pits. He is 2 minutes clear. That is coming off right now. It is coming off, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. Stig is 2 minutes 6 seconds, but has done his pit stop, was eating into that lead. And it should, when Ost does finally go into the pits, which I imagine will probably be, and let's turn that stuff off again to look at the damage. Yes, so, what was I saying? Completely lost. Yeah, so when Ost does go in, which will be in it'll have to be the next couple of laps, I thought. Stigs will be able to get back to closing that gap. I imagine it will be under a minute and a half by the time we got there. But it's very difficult to see past Race Asylum for the win. Yeah, just so difficult to see how anyone is going to do anything about it. Kevin did make an attempt, and it's cost him dearly, because now Pled, we said this was going to happen when he served that penalty. Pled was going to be right on him, yeah, absolutely. It's cost Kevin it cost him. The cost of it is quite big, because one, it's obviously cost them. They were comfortably fourth. Let's not pretend that they were under any significant challenge. They were comfortably fourth. Kevin into the pits again, unnecessarily this time, to be fair. And yeah, no, I agree. No, hardly a problem. So Pled has gained fourth place, so they've lost out in that respect. They have lost a little bit of integrity. I'm sure the team won't be happy from it. Sorry, but you know, I'm supposed to be an impartial observer as a commentator, but I think you're wrong here, mate. I think you're wrong. Yeah, Team Morrow were part of this, but yeah, I mean, if you bring the safety car out in that instance where it was a deliberate act to try and engineer a safety car, which it was, I don't think there is any question that was anything other than a deliberate act to try and generate a safety car for whatever reason. That was a damage call. Let's have a look at this one. Please don't flash to a car ploughing into a wall. A little bit of front end damage there for Octavian. Nothing that a quick blast through the pits isn't going to solve. It's certainly not terminal in any way. Ost is fine. Nobody else is struggling. Just Octavian, sorry, with that bit of damage. Yeah, as I was saying, so yeah, you bring the safety car out, then you punish first and second and third. You punish fifth and sixth and seventh. Well, not necessarily them so much, but certainly first, second, and third get punished by a full safety car, and actually the guy in fourth gets rewarded because the gap to the cars in front, because he's pitting under a safety car position where everyone's going slower, so not such a big pit loss, but also gives the opportunity under the safety car to close that gap a little bit. He's been rewarded for essentially trying to manipulate the race. Now, it just so happened that I caught it. It could have very well been that I didn't catch it, and then that the safety car would have come out, and then of course later down the line when someone watches a replay, they're going to be like, hang on, this has been manipulated. But by then the result was done. So unfortunately he tried it and it went horribly wrong. And it was an absolutely correct decision not to safety car in that position. And you know, by saying that the thing shouldn't be safety car, you're essentially saying that what he did was okay. But there we go. Let's moving swiftly on to other things. The gap is still coming down. Yeah, it's coming down to beyond 2 minutes. But we do still need to see Ost in the pits at some stage. Stiggs is digging it to the Race Asylum guys at the moment. It's 8:01 the fastest, 8:01.8, 8:19 last lap, but that was a pit lap, and this is obviously an out lap, so we'll see. We won't see if he's improving on that 8:01.8 for a couple of laps. Pled Silver up into fourth now, 54 seconds behind Gelf. Gelf now, it's a minute to Stiggs, although Gelf I think has also pit. Has he pit? Yeah, I think he has pit. So Gelf has pit, Stiggs has pit. It's 1 minute 10 seconds. That's the differential between them. And his fastest lap is 8:08, but hasn't been able to recreate that as such. Pled Silver. We're not pitting, doing steady 8:10s by the looks of things, which if Gelf can't find rhythm, and he hasn't seemed to. It's been obviously we've had the in and the out lap, but hasn't recreated the pace since that 8:08 on lap 4. But we'll see. Plenty of should be able to close the gap a little bit if he can continue with those 8 to 10s. So I'm trying to read and broadcast at the same time. It's not easy. 28 seconds is the gap. There's Kevin there. 28 seconds is that gap to Plenty Silver. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than it needed to be, and he would still be running in 4th had he not tried it. But that has been a bit of a boon to a Roadrunner. Roadrunner 4 ready to race the 666 car. Currently 14.4, about 14 and a half seconds. Yeah, for about 14 and a half seconds to the back of Kevin at the moment. But doing very, very steady 8.10s. So, and only 14 seconds. I know we've only got, 7 laps remaining. But very distinct possibility we could see a bit of a battle in the top 6. So that's your lead lap taken care of. Moving down the order, that's Poctavian. They're on lap 6 at the moment, Poctavian and Philo. It is nearly 2 minutes. Almost the same gap between Stiggs and Ost as there is between Poctavian and Philo. But Philo looking quite racy. They're both actually quicker than the cars ahead. Now, Poctavian into the pits. I don't think Philo's been in as yet. So, yeah. Yupe. Is it Yupe or Jupe? 14 full send. In the steady 8.25s. I didn't mean to laugh then. It's still quicker than me, so I don't know why I'm laughing. It's one of those things. 36 seconds behind Philo. Not really going to close that gap in that. You're going to drive the GTR next stint, Pastina. That wouldn't be a bad shout. And Nick gets your GTR. Oh, you're both in the GTR. Maybe it's the paint job. Did you think of that? Maybe, Pastina, it's the paint job. So get all that red and blue and white, get all that and the DCT stuff and all that stuff off the car, and whack on some of that white and blue and red in that order. The colours of the schemes are the same. You just need to put it in a different order. There's clearly something special about it. It's a setup, you see. It's a setup. Clearly, Clarky and Nick are very good at setting up this GTR and making it super duper quick. But there is your DCT teammate, Pastina, running in 10th place, but it's 1 minute 16 seconds to Yupe, who is lapping. Well, the gap is going to come down. It's going to come down quite a lot. Always look on the bright side of life. Copyright infringement. I'm sure you're right with that one. It didn't sound anything like it. Irox, as we said there, 1 minute 33 ahead of Mijuli, who is 8.19's fastest lap there. So Stiggs still holds the fastest lap. There is Stiggs. Now Ost has been in the pits. We've got a more reflective time, and it is down under that 1 minute 30 mark. At one stage it was at sort of 1:45, and it's starting now to close in. But it's not too claustrophobic for us at the moment. He is 1.5 minutes clear. And I think, although Stiggs is doing an absolutely sterling job, but bear in mind, of course, that this Lexus has been knocking around in that top 3 the entire race, along with these race asylum guys. So don't count them out of a possibility, because it only takes an error. If something were to go, and look, I'm not trying to jinx or anything, but if something were to happen to us, and or a disconnect, I mean, we've seen disconnections throughout the day, throughout the 24-hour period, which is the reason why we've got teams you would normally expect to be on the lead lap, teams capable of putting in these quick times, dropping down the order. You're all using different setups on your GTRs, aren't you? It's interesting. what's interesting as well is that you're freaking quick, man. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. They build them differently up in Scunny, don't they? That's what it is. They build them differently in Scunny. It's all the chips. Where was I? Yeah, so yeah, Stinks is doing a great job there, and he's going to make it. Who is doing the final stint for the Clockwork Motorsport team? Does anyone know who's doing the final stint? We know it's not Stinks. If someone can find out, let me know, because we know that King Ears is doing the final stint for Race Asylum, which will be up in about, well, not long now. Actually, we're on lap 9 for the lead drivers. Gelf, it's 1 minute 41 seconds, but Gelf's in that top 3 and holding firm in that top 3. The gap to Pled is 20.5 seconds. It's been erratic, to say the least, in terms of lap times. Something that he probably wants to avoid. He probably wants to get back into those 810s, 808s, even, to try and keep that 20-second gap as big as it is. Last lap, Pled Silver did a boggling 808, which really took a massive chunk out of that 20 seconds. And if we get these kind of deficit swings too often, we could see that TDR design car, TDR design BMW, or one of 2 TDR design cars, into the top 3. So the Ukrainian driver doing a fabulous job. A little bit laggy there though, a little bit laggy. Mirko Mazzali, how you doing, buddy? You DCT boys get around a lot. I spend far too much time broadcasting you people. I'm joking, of course. Love it. There's Kevin, licking his wounds now after he tried. Look, listen, you get brownie points for trying. That is a road runner. Beep beep. 16.7 seconds now is the gap to Kevin. 8:13.2 was the last lap. Kevin with that 8:19.4. That's a battle potentially that we could see maybe come to fruition. Certainly, if not in this stint, certainly in the next stint. That's Roadrunner, the German closing on the Belgian. In fact, he's in what? Way the I was going to say the Belgian is not, because there's another German driver right there. The lead drivers, that top 6 are all on the lead lap. They're all on lap 9. Although Ross will be on lap 10 very, very shortly, because he's like a minute and a half up the road and then whatever. Anyway, this is the rest of the pack. There's Poctavian, 1.2, 1 minute 26 seconds. 1.2 nothing. Bazza B will be finishing. He's pretty consistent. Interesting to see whether he can stay not last. That's the plan, to stay not last. I listen. I raced my entire online racing career is about just not being last. Yeah, that's my entire focus. I don't concentrate on where I can finish in the top 3 or 4 or top 5. It's, can I not be last? Sorry, Philo 1 minute 26 seconds behind Poctavian. Has put in some really solid times with 8:06 in there. Dupe behind is 35 seconds behind, but not quite up to the same pace. 8:09.1, best lap there for Talking of DCT, he's closing the gap a little bit, but not significantly. I'm concerned with, are we going to see any battles in my little stint here, or are we just lining it all up now for Pony to get all the juicy bits? I have a feeling that's going to go. Well, I'll say that. I mean, we had the Kevin thing, which was pretty juicy, but I have a feeling that this is all lining up like a little game of chess, and Pony's going to come in and get to see the king being destroyed and the queen making the big move and all of that kind of thing is going to... but that's exactly how you want it. You want these races to line up for a big finale finish. The last thing you want in the last 2-hour stint in a 24-hour race is everyone just going around Monaco style, 85 minutes apart. You want to see a couple of cars in the mix. Now, 23 minutes is the gap between... I'm laughing, it's not funny. 23 minutes is the gap between Mijuli, I don't know why I keep saying that, and Ost out in front. Ost, as I say, he's done a 23 and 25, but that's because that's the in-lap and the out-lap, of course. Stiggs settling in to an 8:04. That actually was his slowest racing lap of this particular stint. It got down to an 8:01.8, which has been the fastest lap thus far today in this little stint. But hasn't done better under full racing whack. Hasn't done worse, actually, than his last lap of an 8:04.7. That's actually a couple of seconds off of his bog standard pace, which has just allowed Oss to keep that gap at 1 minute 26. We're on lap 10. Once this is done, we'll be on lap 11, of course, and then we'll keep going until we get to lap 15. On lap 15, these cars will all pile in and they'll all get in their pit box, and then they'll wave hello to their teammates who will then disappear off. Damage for Ost. Was that an offer, or was that do we actually get to see it? Let's see what happened. We caught the tail end of whatever happened to him. But yeah, you're right, he's got damage. Oh, that's quite significant damage, actually. That is damage that means you have to go and repair. Now, what are we looking? Repair is about a 25 to 30 second pit loss. But you've got to factor in as well the fact that he has got 3/4 of a lap to do with that damage. Now, interesting for Stiggs, because, yeah, your resident singer. What happened on lap 2? Not a lot happened on lap 2. Why the question? Yeah, you're right, It's a trip to P1, to the pits for P1. Yeah, so he's going to lose time doing the 3/4 of a lap that he needs to do to get there first and foremost. And it is going to be, we're talking front aero, we're talking the front suspension. It's going to have effect over the handling of that car, so he's going to have to take it easy. There is also the obvious risk as well, that with that damage, with the handling being slightly different, is that there is another opportunity for accident. Now, the last thing that Ost wants is a safety car. So, it's gonna be beneficial. Do you know what? Let the time tick down. They've got 1 minute 19 seconds. So why, you can risk going a little bit slower, making sure you get it back to the pits for repair, rather than risking a full-on engine damage, bringing out a safety car, and undoing all of that good work done by, I think it was Clark, wasn't it, in the last stint, and then Nick in the stint before, of course. Was it Nick? Yeah, wasn't it? Stiggs, of course, though, at the moment is absolutely flying. Absolutely flying. If you consider that Ost's fastest lap is an 8:04.8, Stiggs' slowest lap is an 8:04.7, and we are talking, of course, about hot laps, not just any old lap. Right, let's have a look at the back of the pack, because they don't get enough love back there today. It's 1 minute 33 seconds is Mijuli from the back of the DCT GTR. The Italian team, and it's all Italian drivers, I don't think we've seen anyone racing for DCT that is not an Italian. Currently running, can't say much about RA until I see the blood test results. You're very true, they are, they bleed petrol. Some say that they all just arrived one day in the cloud of smoke, that they weren't born and they didn't grow up. They just literally just appeared next to a racetrack after a particularly heavy donut session, and have ever since just been going very, very quickly. Yeah, so it's perfect storm. 1 minute 32 ahead, 1 minute 33 behind. They're inside the top 10. Yeah, you can. I mean, after 20, nearly 21 and a half hours racing, you can't really say much more than that is awesome. Certainly doing better than I would be. To be fair, I would have thrown my toys out of the pram and I wouldn't cry by now. Because I am so tired. Hupay for Team Full Send, and they have fully sended it today. A little bit unfortunate, they had a couple of disconnections. JeGr is, of course, a full send driver, one of my fellow broadcasters. Did to be fair, absolutely loved the fact that you not only knew every single corner here at Nürburgring and the correct pronunciation of the names, but also, being German, he can pronounce it correctly. I had some rather poor attempts of trying something, but I'm not going to do it anymore. 25 years experience alone on Nürb. That sounds like it does sound. It does sound weird. Something off about that. His name's not Clark. He's not Clark. He's from Scunny. He's Sabine from Eiffel, which is where the ring is located for anyone that wanted to know. Ost. That's, do you know what that is? Right? That's the sound. You know, you walk past like a trance club at 4 o'clock in the morning in like some warehouse district. All you hear is like ost. Yeah. And sleep deprivation is why I make the jokes. So in he comes. This is the pit stop. Now the gap down already. It's going to be under a minute by the time Ost comes out. So he's coming in. We'll see just how long this takes. Where's Stiggs? So Stiggs is there. It's going to be about 45 seconds the gap, I think. So there we go. So he's coming back out. We won't get a representative time just yet. Stay away from that white line or you're going to lose another 3 seconds. He does. So at the moment it's 1 minute 3. He's heading round now. We're going to see when Stiggs crosses the start-finish line. I think that's when we'll have a really accurate time. The RA management excuse number 234. What happened to Ost? Ost, he had a little accident and he had to repair the front of his car. Yeah, when I say, do you know what? Right, when I say 45 seconds, I'm good at this, and I should be a professional guesser. Yeah, that's my new job. I'm going to be a professional guesser. I'm just going to walk up to random people and say, you are 27. Yeah, that's me, professional guesser. He's got this down to 39 seconds. Now, had that happened on lap 2 or lap 3, Stiggs would be really, really close. As it happens, his lap times are good. They are very good, Stiggs. He's just done an 8:03. Ignoring that, because obviously he had to go into the pits. 8:04 is the best that Ost has put out. Now, Stiggs, if he goes back into those 8:01s, he puts that Clockwork Motorsport, that's the team, his Clockwork Motorsport teammate in a fantastic position behind King Ears going into the final stint, which is up. Actually, to be fair, the lobby's probably not far off being open for all of those lovely drivers. And of course, you'll be looked after by the ever enigmatic PonyBoy for the final stint. No, you're right, this thing isn't easy. And the thing is, it's been 22 hours almost. To stay focused, because you've got to bear in mind that the drivers are having a break in between, and if you're spaced out correctly, you've essentially got a 6-hour gap in between. So you do a stint, and then you've got 3 stints before you do your next one. But that 3-hour stint's not a 3-hour stint because you're already in your car and preparing 1 stint before. So that 4 hours is cut down to like 3 hours, 6 hours cut down to 4 hours. Then you've got to consider you've got the overlap into your own your handover, which is another half hour. Could be 40 minutes depending on where you are on the racetrack, of course. So now all of a sudden that's dropping right down to sort of 3 hours, and then of course you come off, you're wired, you're hungry, you need a pee, you need to go and have a little plop plop. You want to go and listen to the rendition of JeGr singing Barbie Girl, for instance. So you've dropped half hour, 45 minutes, an hour there, which means you've only got a couple of hours to really kind of rest and recharge and get ready. And you're doing that over the course of a 24-hour period. So you're not really, your sleep is broken. You're not really getting the kind of concentration you need. So you get to this stage now of the race, and this is where you earn the big bucks. This is where it really makes a difference. Where you've got to kind of fight through the fatigue, fight through the lack of concentration that you're finding, the difficulty in keeping focused, and because you're so close to the end and you get to sleep afterwards, you don't really want to start banging some Red Bulls, unless of course your plan is to stay up all day and bounce off the walls. I've had to dip into my free Monster collection just to keep myself going, but I've realised now I've not done myself any favours, because I can't have a little kip after this, because I'm going to be off my ever-loving tits on taurine, which is not a monster. It's synthetic. Right, 38 seconds, that's the gap. I predict, where are we, lap 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 5 laps, I predict it's going to be under 30 seconds, the gap between Clockwork Motorsport and Race Asylum when we do the handover. So there's the gauntlet laid down. 30-second gap is your challenge. Comfortably in third, really, at the moment. Pled Silver's not really taking anything out of that 22 seconds. Didn't 807? I thought we were about to see bits of BMW all over the racetrack, but it didn't happen. An 807.8 for Pled, but it was an 807.9 for Gelf. So Gelf doing matching Pled, corner for corner, really. So the gap stays at 22 seconds with no real opportunities at the moment for Pled to kind of improve. Pled, of course, lucked out when Kevin tried it. 40 seconds is the gap, and not really been able to find any consistency of pace since that, actually the whole race, to be fair. Put in a blistering 808.6 on the second full racing lap. But since then, not really found any kind of form, Kevin. But there we go. I don't know what happened there. There we go. 11.8 seconds is the gap to Roadrunner. Roadrunner is eating into that 11.9 or 12 seconds to Kevin at the moment. Fast enough for their liking? Probably not. Fast enough to catch them? Possibly. What is it? 13s, 12s, 13s. I think the inconsistency is probably the difference here. Kevin doing 19s, 9s, 19s. We'll keep an eye on that, because that ready to race car, it's good. One thing actually, I was saying how the AMG looks awesome in red and black. This McLaren is perfectly suited to yellow and orange. I think any other colour on this car is just not quite right. But that is a fabulous colour combination for a car that I have very recently fallen in love with on this game. I hated the McLaren on GT Sport, never drove it. Well, I did, and then realised I hated it, so I never drove it. So I never bothered to get one on GT7. And, I don't race a lot anyway, as you guys know. So I never bothered to get one, and then I was doing some daily racing at Kyoto, and I noticed that a few people had it. I thought, I'm going to give it a crack, and absolutely loved it. It's an awesome little motor car. Well, it's massive, but it's an awesome motor car. And good fun to drive too. But it's, they're revving it out, but I found short shifting it is the best way to drive it. But I notice these guys tend to be revving out. I felt it short, but I suppose it depends how you've organised your gearing or your tuning. Yellow flag. That is for Kevin's had a mistake. That 11-second gap is about to change very quickly. He has got his car back on the track. Does he have damage? Yes, he does. That's significant damage. That is going to the pits damage. That is, here comes Roadrunner damage. Roadrunner's going to hunt it down. Let's get rid of this really quickly so we don't miss a thing. That's the wrong one. I don't want that one. I want that one. I hate that bloody menu. Why can't they put it off the side and just do it with a one button press? So Roadrunner now hunting down Kevin. Kevin's made a mistake. He's got all loosey-goosey and hit the wall. And here comes... That's so sarcastic. Here comes Roadrunner, tucked in behind. So had to slow right up. That car ahead there is struggling. It's really, really struggling. But here comes Roadrunner, trying to find a way through. It's not the best part of the racetrack to be getting behind another car because it's just so tight through here. You do not want to be clipping the back of that BMW. Not that there's not already significant damage on there, but you don't want to have your overtake marred by a bit of damage. Mimi. Abso-freaking-lutely, Mimi. So here we go. The chase down. I was hoping we'd get a battle, and we have suddenly got one. Kev with all the damage. ED attempt number 2. When I don't think that was an engine damage attempt. I could be wrong. He might not have known he got caught the first time, but I think that was just a genuine crash. A proper genuine crash, one of these, isn't it?
I crashed. You crashed? How are you coming fast?
Yeah, how are you coming fast? Very fast, of course. So, Roadrunner is trying desperately to find a way past Kevin. Certainly looks like Roadrunner's got the pace. Now, Roadrunner want to get this done early rather than later. I mean, look, there is no challenge from behind Roadrunner. No offence to Poptavian, but it's kind of it's not going to happen. I think you have to resign yourself to the fact that the top 6 on this lead lap are the top 6 staying on this lead lap, and that ain't going to change, baby. Here we go, good run. What he wants, he want to put an opportunity in for a challenge at 4th, and weaving all over the place is Kevin at the moment, desperately trying to defend. Is that too much weaving? Is that something that needs to be looked at as well? Or is it just lag? I suppose it could be lag, chucking the car all over the racetrack. It is quite a thin racetrack. So opportunity here now, Slipstream's going to come, and then Roadrunner will get this move done. Probably would have liked to have got it done a little bit sooner, but it's certainly going to happen now. Here we go, straight foot down, and this is just a long run with your foot firmly planted to the floor, closing on the back of that BMW, pulls out to the side. See you later. Boom, done. Job done. Absolutely fabulous.
Wow, is that very nice?
It is indeed very nice. He's got it done. Roadrunner up to 5th place. 54 seconds, though, is the gap to Pled Silver. Not going to make much inroads into that, particularly with Pled doing chucking in the occasional 807 into the mix, and that was very similar otherwise. But the Ready to Race guys will be happy with 5th place at the moment. That's a couple of places going. I mean, the Kevin's lot will not be happy because he's now going into the pits. Going to lose 25 seconds now. The saving grace, of course, is that that's where Poptavian is. I mean, Poptavian is almost an entire lap behind Kevin. In fact, it's 2 laps, isn't it? Because, 2 laps behind Kevin. So, at the moment, Kevin can't do worse than 6th place. I'm sure this will probably be a race to forget for him. It's not gone so well. Right, now, I said, by the time they go in, it's going to be under 30 seconds. This gap is 32.9. 42, but 8.869. 69. such a child. The irony is my daughter also laughed as she walked past. That's the gap. Stiggs is still taking chunks out of this Race Asylum lead. The Clockwork Motorsport guys in that beautiful fancy barcode, we'll call it. The LBGTQ barcode. Fastest lap of the race again with an 8:01.769. 69. Shut up, Andy, you absolute child. Yeah, it's going to be a nervous final. I think it's going to be a nervous final stint. We don't know who's going to be in. Well, I don't know who's going to be in the Lexus. Be interesting to find out actually who's going to be in that Lexus, because the other thing as well is who's going to be in. In fact, if we knew who's going to be, all of these cars would be useful. Gelf is 1:54 back in third. The gap to Pled actually was 22 seconds. We did question whether Pled in that BMW was going to be able to close the gap. But actually far from it, the gap's opened up a little bit, so Gelf is just giving a little bit of breathing room to the MRL team. And that's BM versus BM as well. That is a like-for-like racer Rooney we've got right there. So Gelf winning that particular battle. And of course MRL happy with third at the moment. I wouldn't be too disappointed with that myself. Not that I will ever get there, of course. So we've had some great battles. Well, we've had a great battle, and we've had some trying it on. Pled Silver still sitting there in fourth, 26.8 seconds. The gap to Gelf, 55 seconds comfortably at the moment ahead of Beep Beep Roadrunner, who has made their way around Kevin and now built 31. So it's not really built a 31 second gap. Kevin had to go and repair some damage, and that's allowed the Ready to Race team to get a 31 second gap safely in fifth position. Poctavian and Philo, they are on the same lap as is Ubay. Not much to say really there. There's no real battles going on between them. We've got a 2 minute gap, 2 minutes 24 seconds between Ubay, who is there kind of near the top of the hill, and Irox for DCT down near the bottom of the hill. There is a 26 second gap between Mijili and Irox, which, to be fair, for the most part hasn't really changed much. We've got a couple of slow laps where Irox has been in the pits, etc. We'll keep an eye on that, but I can't imagine 26 seconds is going to be much. It's going to be much smaller. That, of course, is the other GTSV car, with Kevin still up in that top six. We're sub 30 seconds as we thought we would be, but there's actually time to spare, so we could potentially see that dropping even to sub 20 seconds. Squeaky bum time potentially. Can you see Kevin real quick? Of course you can. He's there. 33 seconds behind Roadrunner. Lap times are incredibly erratic, if that's what you're trying to look for. Yeah, incredibly erratic. And of course the 8:43 will be the in lap, and there'll be an out lap. It's difficult really to tell what their pace is. I would say the kind of average there looks to be around the 8:19 seems to be where the regular pace is. Although there is capability of an 8:08, which was on lap 4. If you're wondering whether they're going to catch beep beep Roadrunner, I don't think so. They might take a little bit out of that 33 seconds, but it looks that Roadrunner is relatively consistent between 8:10 and 8:13. I think if you can find a balance somewhere in the middle of that, not push too hard to risk going off the racetrack, and getting, or if you can get the 8:10, you obviously get that between that. Gap between 3 and 4. That's 28.1 seconds. But in terms of lap times, I think Gelf is slightly edging it. It was 22 seconds for a bit. In fact, it's 22 seconds for quite a long time. And then Gelf just seems to have kind of opened up the engine a little bit. He's starting now to push a little bit and just open up that gap. And it gives that MRL team just a little bit of breathing room when it comes to the final stint. 30 seconds is a decent gap. And actually, the gap they've got at the moment is a lot more comfortable than this one. The gap between Stig's and the Gelf, his name's not the Gelf, is it? He's not like Prince, who has like one special name. He's just Gelf. Right. Anyway, 1 minute 57 seconds. So the top two really separate now from everybody else. There is still potentially a battle on the cards for third place. There is also potentially a battle on the cards further down for where is it? Here for 10th place. And I think what we're doing here now, towards the end of this lobby, we're setting up for a great finish over in the final lobby with PonyBoy in very, very short space of time, very, very soon actually. 27.5 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if that is down below 20 seconds come the end of this race. We'll have another gap there, which is going to be about 30 seconds, but it's going to be a bit of game on for the what are they called? TDR design team in 4th place. Roadrunner back there in 5th. Now, if I don't know who's coming in for the Ready to Race team in the final stint, but if the driver that comes in is doing somewhere in the 802s, 803s, then potentially there could be a challenge for 4th, and maybe, just maybe, a challenge for 3rd, depending, of course, who I don't know who's driving for MRL or for TDR. So I take you absolutely shuffle. I hope you're all along with me. 43 people watching, only 14 likes. Like it immediately. What are you doing? The fact you're watching it means you like it, so get on with it. Like it immediately. Have you not done it yet? Why have you not done it yet? Do it. Do it now. Thank you very much. And then share it. What I want you actually, I want you to take a photograph of it, and I want you to take it, go knock on your neighbour's door. If they're asleep, wake them up. If they're having their Sunday morning conjugals, get them to stop. Burst into your local church, and get everybody to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and click the like button, and share it with all their family and friends, with immediate effect. Right, where are we? 26 seconds still of that lead. Not much changed. We're starting to slowly make our way towards the end. Now, Kevin again in the pits. Is that more damage? Let's have a quick looky, see, shall we? There is more damage for Kevin. So woe betide. It's not going well for GTSV, and in particular Kevin. 45 seconds the gap to Roadrunner. That repair now puts it to a minute. It doesn't really do much for Poctavian, but it does a lot more for Ready to Race, and of course to the TDR design team in 4th, because this GTSV car has been, the 68 car has been there or thereabouts amongst the big boys for a lot of this race, and just this race alone has kind of pulled them out of that. They're obviously they're still on the lead lap, and the last of the cars on that lead lap. But who knows? I don't know why I went to answer that question like I'd know. He may well do. Who knows? Saying that, when Black Flag did our first race at Bathurst, we didn't read the rules properly, and we did we went into the Bathurst race with just a bog standard setup on the car, and we didn't do too badly actually. Did all right. I can't remember the AMG. I think we were in that Mercedes AMG thingy. Yeah, we had an all right finish at Bathurst in that. I think we had a much better showing at Watkins Glen, of course. So he hasn't got a standard setup. That answers that question. So Ost is 25 seconds clear. Last lap was an 8:08. He has done an 8:04.8. So, and Stiggs is just getting quicker and quicker and quicker. This lobby we haven't seen the crazy blistering pace of earlier lobbies, but I think it's to be expected when you've got the penultimate lobby. This is the kind of the calm before the storm, isn't it? Because you've got your big guns coming out for the final stint, which is not far away. We're only a couple of laps away from the final stint starting. Yeah, he probably is. He probably is exhausted. You know, the thing is, it doesn't matter how many laps you do. You can argue, you know, muscle memory helps and that kind of thing, but it doesn't matter how many laps you do. When you're tired, you're tired. Your braking's going to be off. Your steering's going to be off. Your arms are going to be heavy. Mum's spaghetti. If I'm not in your sweater already, yeah. I'm not going to sing that one because that will be a copyright infringement. And does PonyBoy, has anyone told PonyBoy that because I sung and because we've got JeGr to sing, that he's got to sing as well? Has anyone informed him of that yet? I'll leave that to you lot. You can bombard him with a choice of song. Right, so Stiggs is trying to desperately put his team in the best possible position to chase down King Ears in the final stint of this race, which is going to be happening in a couple of laps' time. Gelf will be desperately just trying to secure a nice, decent gap. 2 minutes now to those leaders. I think we can safely assume that without a safety car or a crash, it's pretty much going to be a battle between a few cars for third position. We've only got 6 cars now on this lead lap. Front two, of course, Ost and Stiggs for Race Asylum and for Clockwork Racing Team Garage Stiggy. Clockwork Motorsports, that's the one. Clockwise Motorsports, Clockwork Motorsports. Those two are out in front. I think 1 and 2 is going to be decided between them. Safety car or bad accident aside. We've got the MRL team right here. They're currently 30 seconds clear of the TDR design team. That's not an insurmountable deficit over the course of a 2-hour race here at Nürburgring. Why have I got an extra red in, for fuck's sake? That's certainly possible. Roadrunner there is a minute back with Kevin a minute behind. The benefit, of course, is that they've got a nice gap behind. So that GTSV car that's been so strong up to this point, now not going to be challenging the R2R guys in this final stint. So they can kind of concentrate on trying to close down that minute gap up ahead if they can. Obviously, you know, you would expect that whoever's coming in for GTSV and following Kevin will be putting their own hammer down and trying to close on the back of these guys. But it's certainly better to be chasing down 4th than it is to be chasing down 5th. At least I know what I'd rather be doing. Nothing I'd rather be sitting on my fat lazy arse doing nothing. That's what I'd really like to be doing. Kevin we know about. Then we sort of go to those on further back laps. It's lap 12 for these guys. They've still got some way to go. Minute 13 seconds to Philo, named after the famous pastry, of course. 38 seconds ahead of Ubay. 2 minutes 25 to Irox, and then 32 seconds back to Mijili, whatever his name is. So I think we can kind of leave the those outside the top 6 for now. They've got a lot more racing to do still than these guys here in the front, well, basically on the lead lap essentially. 24 seconds Ost to Stiggs now. This gap will be under 20 seconds by the time this race is done for me. And King Ears has got his work cut out. Because at the end of the day, this is now Race Asylums to lose. You've got to consider that they've a couple of times they've built what we thought were unassailable leads that have been eroded either by a safety car or just by the guy, this guy behind here. Or to be fair, I mean, it didn't help that Oss had a little off. So it has been little mistakes. It's been safety cars. It's been the guy behind putting in blistering lap times. So all the hard work that's been done previously, undone again. So RA really, Racing Solid, got to focus on, in this last stint, really kind of managing that pace and ensuring that they stay ahead. It is really theirs to lose. Similarly, at this stage, the Clockwork Motorsports team in that Lexus RCF, they've got very little to lose. The next challenger to them on the racetrack, 2 minutes back, that's going to take, they're going to have some crazy significant issues for that 2 minutes to be eroded away during the course of the stint. So they really can focus on pushing, and seeing if they can give RA something to think about towards the end of the race. This is really setting up for a very, very good, even possibly photo finish here. Absolutely looking forward to that. Who wouldn't be, of course? Who wouldn't be? Guelph's comfortable at the moment. Guelph for MRL. Sticky in those between the 806, 808, which is a good solid lap time. Pretty much the same as Pled Silver's been putting in, and they're in identical cars as well. So yeah, they're both in those Mercedes, no, not Mercedes, the BMWs. You can see that the paint job makes them look so much more different. I mean, that almost it's the livery off the Ford GT, isn't it? Of old, the very famous Golf Ford GT livery, which it looks good on the BMW. I'm not saying it doesn't, but you kind of expect to see it on a Ford GT on a BMW. There we go. Roadrunner. It's the perfect storm. 1 minute 2 and 1 minute 2 either side, perfectly sandwiched between Ukraine and Belgium. You've never been able to say that about Germany before, but now you can. Now you can say, if someone says where's Germany, you can say sandwiched exactly in the middle between Ukraine and Belgium. And there is, talking of Belgians there as well, there is Kevin. THG, Kevin. What the THG stands for? The hit is great. That hurt, Gits. Oh, I do make myself laugh, even if I don't make anybody else laugh. Okay. Nearly there, lads. We've nearly made it. We've nearly made it. So these guys will not be racing again after this. Someone else will be stepping up for the final 2 hours here at the Nürburgring. 170 corners. 50 miles, I think it is, 25 kilometres. That's insane. Over the course of each 2 hour stint, the drivers are braking 2,500 times for 2,500 corners, all do varying amounts of time, which means they're also getting back on the power 2,500 times across the course of the racetrack. It means they're turning the steering wheel at least 2,500 times, sometimes more, to avoid action. So, you know, everything's going to hurt. Their feet are going to hurt. Their arms, their fingers, their brain from the intense, absolutely intense concentration. So to be doing it still at this level after 22 hours essentially is a phenomenal achievement. Ost is still keeping it over 20 seconds. I mean, that's got to be the aim, is to try and just do what he can to keep Kyle in. Absolutely not bin it at this stage, because with a gap of only 21 seconds, if he bins it now, it's game on for these guys who have been there or thereabouts the whole time, really sticking with that battle. Guelph. Oh, standing up because I'm getting stiff legs. Gelf in the Gulf. I wonder if that's a reference to it. Probably not. It's 29 seconds now. The gap was 22, and it was 22 for so long between Pled and Gelf. I thought someone was disconnected, but that was just, I don't know what it was, but I thought it was someone disconnecting. Missed it completely. Yeah, it was 22 seconds, and it was 22 seconds for ages. But just in this sort of last portion of the race, Gelf's just found that little bit extra, and he's just putting that MRL car that little bit further ahead in third place. Not really been able to make any inroads into the front two. The Australian and German, the Australian Sticks and the German Ost have that sewn up very well. So for Gelf, it's all about managing that pace now and trying to stay in third and successfully hold on there would be good. Oh my God, it's starting to get really hot. Really hot. I'm not even racing. The Ukrainian holding on in that BMW, 1 minute ahead of Roadrunners. Kevin's closed the gap. Actually, for a minute there, I thought something exciting to happen, but it hadn't. Roadrunners, the gap was the perfect storm, 1 minute 2, 1 minute 2. But Kevin's just finding a little bit of pace behind Roadrunner now. At the moment, there's a Belgian sandwich between two Germans, although one piece of that German bread is 2 laps behind. So 58 seconds. So within that 1 minute window, we know that 1 minute is it's a possibility to close that down within a 2 hour stint. We've seen it with Stiggs on Ost. Is Kevin going to kind of redeem himself a little bit in the eyes of his team and just give his teammates something to aim at, something to race for in the final 2 hours? I mean, you don't want to go into the race knowing that you've got an uphill battle, and it would be good to have something to fight for. Poctavian. We'll have a look at those guys once it's lap 15. So we are on lap 15 of 16. This is the final lap for these front 6. Just 8 minutes before they go into the pits and their teammates come out. So PonyBoy at the ready for that, of course. He'll be taking you through the next 2 hours after this, and right to the end of this 24-hour race. And just before they go to the pits, I'll be back very, very shortly. I had to do it. Sorry, guys. I had to pee, or it was going to be a big puddle right where I stand, and I didn't want a puddle where I stand. One, because the dog will probably drink it, and 2, because my leg would smell funny. Anyway, we are looking at Ost. I said it'd be below 20 seconds, didn't I? And right, you want a rundown. Ost is under 20 seconds clear in front. Little Nick here. He had a bit of an accident, which took a significant chunk out of that 1 minute 30 second lead. Or 1 minute 45 second lead, actually, that Race Asylum started this particular stint on. Stiggs has been super quick. 8014 is super quick for this lobby. You know, not super quick in terms of Clarkey and Nick standards, but those two boys, there's something wrong with them. I reckon if you cut them inside, they're just made of titanium and circuit boards. So Stiggs is, he's been the fastest man all day, and he's closing down on Austin. He's just going to give King Ears something to think about in the final stint. Gelf down into third, because Stiggs got past Gelf, who was in second at the beginning of this stint. Now 2 minutes behind, but still holding on in third. Pulled out a bit of a gap from Pled Silver. Now, the bit he did miss, the really interesting bit, was the Kevin attempt at bringing out a safety car. There was a deliberate act of driving full pelt headfirst into a wall and then claiming engine damage. Unfortunately for Kevin, I caught it all on camera, and there was no safety car, and he ended up losing to Pled Silver, who moved up some way ahead of him, and eventually Roadrunners as well. And it's gone from bad to worse for Kevin, actually dropping 2 places during this stint. Pretty much everything else is as it is. We've had a couple of disconnections, as you probably already knew. But yeah, other than that, and I don't know if you saw earlier, they convinced JeGr to sing Barbie Girl in the last stint. No one was stupid enough to get me to do it because I didn't want to die from listening to me sing stupid. Right, but we're taking bets now. Is it going to be sub 15 seconds by the time we go in, or they go in? And King is going to have a lot of work to do. But Ost is 17.2 seconds clear. That 17.2 seconds is going to drop a little bit. Not a lot of racetrack left for Stiggs to close down, but Stiggs has done an absolutely... I don't think you could have asked more. You couldn't have asked for more from the Clockwork Motorsport driver. He's literally put in a massive shift, gained a position, got them up from 3rd to... In fact, got them up from 4th to 2nd, so gained 2 positions, and taken a significant chunk out of that 1 minute 45 lead that Race Asylum went into this race with. That 1 minute 45 lead is 16.2 seconds. Nothing, absolutely nothing left in it. I'm going to press that button. We want to stay on this particular view. And you can see there how close they are on the racetrack. When this race started, there was or when this particular stint started, shall we say, because when this race started, they were both in the same bloody place on the grid. When this stint started, there was a significant difference between them. Ost came out and had time to get round a few corners, and was well into Nordschleife before Stiggs had even left the pits. But now 16 seconds, we might be. I think by the time we go in, we could be as low as 15, even sub 15 seconds at the rate Stiggs is going. Fastest lap of the race is an 8:01.4. We're not going to see that improved upon at this stage, certainly by these guys. Don't know if anyone outside the top 6 has got the capability to do a lap of that ilk. I'm sure we would have seen it thus far, unless of course they were holding back. 15.7 and closing. So my original prediction was sub 30. Then I changed my prediction when I saw how quick he was, and now I'm changing it again, and I'm going to claim that I said it all along. Yeah, you didn't miss much, Nicky. Just a couple of overtakes and a crash. So, Ost is into the pits. That will free King Ears out of the pits on his way to the final 2 hours. Stiggs, in he comes. That is 2 cars in. We've got a 2-minute gap now to Gelf from the Medway Racing League. He will come round and do this. Who's that? He's coming up behind a car that he's going to be lapping. Who is that? That is Poctavian. Now Poctavian is on lap 13. He is the best of the rest. He sits on lap 13. Philo also on lap 13. Upe also. Irox also. Millet also on lap 13. So the front 6 all on the final lap, and 2 laps to go for everybody else. That's due to disconnections and problems. Oh, and talking of problems, he just put out a wall. Shall we watch it again? Let's laugh at his failure. Here we go, let's have a look. What have I done? Why is it not doing it? My keyboard's not working. Alright. So anyway, moving swiftly on. There we have it.
You can't park that there, mate.
So Poctavian, he's still a minute. No, didn't look too devastating. Right, here we go, heading down this long straight. It is Gelf, he's going to pop into pit. Now, Led is not far behind, he's just coming onto this long straight now. You can see Will he be able to see the car? Probably not. A little bit too far back to see the other but I can assure you he'll get there. He's got just a couple of corners left before he enters the stadium, so to the right hand side and into the pits. That will release his teammates in the next lobby. Pled Silver's going to come home. And then we've got Kevin. So Pled coming through. Can't hear me. I'm standing up now. Still have to sit down. That better? There we go. I need to turn that up. That's what it was. Turn the game down. Right. Anyway, moving swiftly on. That's Pled Silver in. Roadrunners is going to be coming in very, very soon. I say very soon, about a minute before we see Roadrunners. There's not more than one of them, but there is more than one of them. There's Roadrunner and Roadrunner Junior, but they're not both in the car at the moment. Kevin 48 seconds behind him, and then we've got a couple of laps to wait before the rest of them get involved in this. So here comes Roadrunner. So now we know that Ost and Stiggs, that Race Asylum and Clockwork and MRL and TDR team, they're all racing now in electronics. If you're following those front four, you might want to put it across the PonyBoy's lobby and get cracking with the final 2-hour stint of this race. Roadrunners in. Kevin's going to come in next. 47.2 seconds is gap between them, and that'll get him into the pits as well. Here he comes down the long straight, flat out in that BMW. I do love the sound of this BM as well. Not quite as nice as the AMG. And certainly the growl of the Porsche 911, but we're not getting the growl of the Porsche 911 because none of the Porsches, neither of the two Porsches, are left in this race. We've lost both Porsches. One we lost very early on, the other one we've lost, and we've also lost, of course, the McLaren from the other MRL team. Where are they going?
There's a fire engine outside.
There's a fire engine outside my house, probably for the crash that Kevin had earlier. Right, so that's the top six, all through. They're on the lead lap. We've got a couple of laps to go for the rest of them. They're still only on lap 14, so 2 laps to go for them. I will be back shortly. I'm back. Not that it matters much because this is nearly over. This second to last penultimate stint here in the N24. It's been an awesome race, to be fair. There's been thrills, there's been spills, there's been disconnections, there's been accidents, there's been attempts at manipulating safety cars, there's been some great overtakes, and there's been a change of leader a few times. RA have pretty much dominated from the outset here, let's be fair, but they didn't finish every session in the lead of this race, which is always interesting, to say the least. Always interesting. And we're set up for a fabulous final 2 hours. Yeah, it's been awesome. I know a few of you will disappeared off now to there's only 17 of you left. But it still concerns me. There's 17 of you watching. There's only 15 ticks on the I like this. Before you disappear and go off to watch PonyBoy, tick the I like this button, please. Thank you very much. Because you're saying in the chat you like it, so click the little button to say you do, and then everyone else believes you. And then go and watch PonyBoy for the final thing. Can you see Flo? Of course you can. There's you mean Philo, right? Yeah, I read that as Flo, but you meant Philo. There's Philo, 1 minute 21 behind Octavian. They've still got a lap and a bit to go, a lap and a few sectors to go before they're in. It must be quite hard for their teammates. Well, I like looking at this car. There's a delivery on this car, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. It is the best looking car out there by some margin, I've got to say. And I'm surprised actually that the TDR team didn't opt for matching liveries, because that is a thing of absolute beauty. And credit, I'm assuming it's Mr. T that did delivery, so credit to him for that, because well, I mean, credit to him for the whole event, but particularly credit to him for that livery, because that is something very, very special. If he wants to share it with me so I can stick it in my, I will happily whack a black flag sticker over the top of that and showcase it to the world, because it's on a beautiful car as well. That's AMG, love it, one of my favourite cars of course. So yeah, so 1 minute 21 behind Octavian. The gap though, Jupe's closed that gap to 5 seconds. Looking at the lap times, Philo's dropped right off pace-wise. Jupe hasn't. Jupe has, or is it Jupe? Jupe. Oh, I don't know. Let's go with Jupe for now, shall we? 8:05.6, fastest lap for him was lap 12. Still a lap to go. Potentially closing that gap. It's down to 3.8, 3.7 seconds. As they just, Philo just going down now, Octavian now on the final lap, Philo now on the final lap, and that's how close they are. Let's go on board and watch this hunt down, because we could potentially have a lap where Jupe was some way behind Philo, and is now coming to close down this gap significantly. It's going to be very, very spicy. We didn't think we'd see that many overtakes. But I'll tell you what, this has been set up brilliantly for a great finish in the last 2 hours. PonyBoy's going to have his work cut out keeping up with all these little battles that are going to be going on the racetrack. We're going to have the Race Asylum and the Clockwork Motorsport little battle out in front. I don't know who's in the car for Clockwork Motorsport, but I imagine that both them and RA are putting. Well, we know RA's putting King Ears in, so we know that he's an incredibly competent driver. And I remember it's been some time. We had in our old lot, we had an awesome team versus team in the Race Asylum boys back when I don't know if Zafra's still even there. I know Zafra used to do a lot of their broadcasting. I don't know if he still does. But he was one of the guys that inspired me to get into broadcasting in the first place. Him and Thingamajig from VRC, both very good commentators. Not that the guys here are not very good, they're all absolutely awesome, very knowledgeable. I just come for the lulz. I don't come with any facts or figures or anything interesting. I just shout at stupid and make silly comments. The other guys come in and bring you facts, which is always good. So here's the chase down as we head into Nordschleife 4, what will be the last time for me, and certainly the last time for these drivers, heading into the rolling hills of Nordschleife in the village of Eifel there in Germany. Such an iconic racetrack, the Nürburgring. And I would find it difficult to travel the world and find people that aren't even interested in motorsport that haven't heard of Nürburgring. It's kind of like the Camp Nou, but for motorsport. The Camp Nou, of course, is, as you know, Barcelona. And here he goes. He's closing fast on the back of Philo. This, I think, is going to be a change of position. We get to see some racing action, and we do get to see that beautiful livery up close and personal. So here is Juppé looking for a way through. It's very tight, very twisty. A lot of these turns you don't want to be going side by side because one of you or both of you is going off into the green stuff, into the brown stuff, into the wall, hitting a bridge, any one of those horrible things you don't want to do, especially on the last lap of the race. Juppé pushing him very, very hard. And after 2 hours of racing, and well, 2 hours for these guys, but 22 hours in total of racing, and they're still racing like it's lap one, and they're going for it. Absolutely hell for leather. Great lap, last lap for Juppé with an 8:05.3. Look, it's no Stig. Stig with his 8:01.4 is the fastest man in this session. But racing, bearing in mind, they're a couple of laps down, and they're putting in lap times that the guys in the top six on the lead lap would have been proud of. So it's still all to race for. It's 3 minutes back to the DCT driver, IROX. We'll have a look at Midjuli, or whatever his name is, in a minute. But this is where we've got to focus our attention because the gap is just 0.2 of a second. After 22 hours, 0.2 of a second. And Midjuli is in the pits. That's a lap early. Is he coming in because he's got damage, or is he coming a lap early by accident? We saw it actually in the last race as well, that some cars went in a little bit early. So he's going to have to either come back out, or his teammate's just going to have to hang around until everybody else is coming anyway. So it's got to be frustrating for those guys, because you've got to bear in mind that everyone gets to the lobby at the same time, and everyone does the first kind of opening lap at the same time. And then you sit there and wait for your teammate to come home, and obviously if you're in first, you're going to be first out and not have a long wait. But if your teammate is 2 laps down, as these guys have been, you are waiting a good 15, 20, sometimes 25 minutes. Here's the overtake. Juppé round the outside, glides past that AMG. Last lap action we've got here at the Nürburgring, and here he is. Juppé up into 8th place and starting now to pull away from Philo. Philo will not be wanting to see the back of that McLaren 650S. Sorry, not McLaren, it's the Mercedes-Benz. They're both the Mercedes-Benz, aren't they, of course? That looks a bit like McLaren. But already the gap 1.2 seconds. The pace on Juppé at the moment is phenomenal. Gets that a little bit wrong. That's going to allow Philo to come back at him. So do we now see Philo with the pace to come back at him? And you've got to bear in mind that it's not going to be long before these guys are going to be heading down the straight. If Philo can just get back up on the back of that Mercedes-Benz, that's the Full Send Racing Team car ahead of him with Juppé at the wheel. Oh, gets a little bit wide, a little bit on the grass. There was a very real danger of spinning that car around there, but he does hold that well and keeps it in between the white lines eventually. Desperately trying to cling on to the back of the Full Send Racing Team green liveried AMG Mercedes-Benz. But at the moment he's not able just to keep with him. Couldn't hold him off. It was clear he was closing him down. I didn't think we'd get to see the action ourselves, but we have. So yeah, loving it. Here we go then. We got just a few corners left before this is all over. And then Milige. I don't know. We know that he's got a J in there and an M, and he's got a penalty as well, just to make matters worse. So it cost him some time going in the pits. He's picked up a penalty coming out of the pits, And that's just to extend the time his teammates going to be waiting around to get back out and get cracking. We're not going to see Stig's 8:01.419 beaten now, because this is the final lap of the race, and of course they don't cross the finish line here. They pull into the pits and tag in their teammate for the final stint. So just a few corners left to go, not even that, 3 corners left to go before they head on that long journey back down the rolling hills here at Nordschleife to take them under the Audi Sport Bridge, and then it is flat out through the penalty line. And you can see where the hill just starts climbing again up towards that Eiffel Forest. You can see on the right hand side before it dips off again at the top of this little brow and takes you down into the GP Stadium to complete lap 15 on this incredibly long 170 corners, 15 miles, 25 kilometre racetrack. And as I said before, over the course of just this 2-hour stint, these drivers have had 2,500 braking zones, 2,500 turns of the wheel. Everything is going to be aching as Juppe into the pits. Here comes Philo. He'll be coming into the pits as well. Has he run out of fuel? I think he's run out of fuel. He is coasting. He has made it though. So that's why Philo was caught, because he was conserving fuel as best as he could. So Juppe is in team full send in, and his teammate will be out at the other end. Philo coming in, and his teammate will be out at the other end as well for the TDR design team. Boom Shanker, there they go. Just IROX left, and just IROX left because Milic has disappeared. Disconnected or whatever, but he's gone. So just IROX left, and he is 3 minutes away from finishing this race. So his teammate is going to have an agonising 3 minutes in the pits by himself, by the looks of things, waiting for his teammate to bring it home. I do hope we've got they've got another couple of drivers for the final stint, even with some of the teams that have had to pull out due to technical issues or anything along those lines. But you know, they've come back just for the final stint and make a race of it for those guys at the back. Not long left now for IROX. You've got this really tricky section, just kind of back and forward on itself, and a lot of difficult braking zones in this section. Very twisty and turny, this bit. You've got to have your wits about you, because it really wants to test you before it gives you that beautifully long run down back to the stadium section, and really puts the pressure on the car and the tyres and the driver and your concentration and everything through this section here. And I do love the detail on this 24-hour track on the sides of the campers and the camping toilets and the tents and the Winnebagos and all that kind of thing, to really give it that feel of a 24-hour race event that you would usually get. And yeah, Milch has left already. He's done. He's finished. But that will be in 11th place. I don't know how they're going to quite calculate that for his teammate. I'm assuming, of course, his teammate is there ready to go. So heading down and around a few more corners before he gets to relax and just put his foot flat and head towards the final finishing line, of course. Round to the right hand side, round to the left it goes. This is your last big braking zone before you can go properly flat as you go through here, and it kind of carousels round to the left hand side. If we get the car straight, you've got one more braking zone. This is it here, round to the right, and then you can just relax and put your foot through the floor and watch as you climb up into the hills here at Eiffel in Nürburgring. So there we have it. Once IROX pulls down and gets to the end of this straight, pulls into the pits, this stint 11 will be done, and I will be finished, and you will be left with no one but the enigmatic PonyBoy, who brought you all into this. It's 22 hours ago when this race started yesterday afternoon, and we'll see you out of it again this afternoon for the final finish. It's very difficult to look past the rest of the song. They've been dominant all day, the whole 24 hours. I can only recall 1 or 2 stints where they didn't finish in the lead of this race. So it's phenomenal work done to close down that gap to within 15 seconds, I think it was, by the end of the race. But in comes Irox, and we are done. Congratulations to all the drivers. It's been a phenomenal series. I will jump on and catch the last 2 hours with you all on PonyBoy stream, but all that's left for me to say is thank you very much for joining me. I've been UrbanPyrate, and this has been incredibly stressful.